What's up, everybody? JJ Shankles. Hope you guys are having an amazing day, and welcome back to another episode of your daily tech news. We've got a lot of exciting stories today, so let's get right into it. First story of the day is the Windows Security May update. It has several glaring issues. Some people are having printer issues. Some people say it's taking them into tablet mode. Some people are having more serious issues like storage is being erased or going away and they're not able to manipulate their storage on their PC. Some having Chrome authenticator issues so that every time they turn on the computer, they have to re-sign in to Google Chrome. And one of the most glaring issues is that the Fresh Start button, it's a button on Windows 10 that lets you reinstall Windows 10, but saving all of your data. That button has gone away, and it's oftentimes one of the biggest fix for a lot of the Windows security issues. You can just do a fresh install of Windows 10, and that usually fixes a lot of issues. Now that's just gone away. Definitely something Windows needs to get into, and if you haven't updated to the May edition of the Windows Security, I would recommend putting it off. And with how many Windows issues there usually are with new updates, it's usually good to wait at least a week or so to update the Windows Security updates. And if you're not a programmer on the cutting edge, I would recommend usually staying away from any betas from Windows 10. Our next story is about Intel. They will once again try to bake in anti-malware into their CPUs. They say this is the most secure way of doing it because it's very base level of the CPU, and so it's one of the more advanced ways of combating malware. But the biggest issue is that they've done this before, and oftentimes there's a lot of security risks. If it can get hacked, then there's really glaring security risks for your CPU. So if it works, it has great benefits, but again, they've tried it before, and it usually comes out that there are some issues and they have to take it off, and it slows your CPU down. But I do wish them luck with this one. Amazon's new massive multiplayer online game, New World, will be released in closed beta July 23rd. If you want to sign up for that closed beta, I'll put a link down below. This is Amazon's second foray into producing a video game. The first one was Crucible and is currently in pre-season and still has a lot of bugs with the game, so not a perfect release. And now they're trying to go even bigger with a massive multiplayer online game, but hopefully they wait a little bit longer in beta to get things perfected before they release it fully as a real game. Again, I wish them well, but they're taking on a lot of large players in the space. World of Warcraft has been very dominant in the massive multiplayer online game for so long now. It's going to take a lot from Amazon to really break into the space. And so as the console wars rage, KFC steps in and says, "Hold my chicken, please," and drops the KFConsole. They haven't announced much specs except for it can do 4K at 120 frames per second and has a chicken storage tray. So check that, Xbox and PlayStation. And the game of the season, Simpsons Lee Carvello Putting Challenge, is now a playable game. This was a short cutscene from a Simpsons episode, and now it is a playable putting video game. The link is in the description down below. And another big crossover event of this summer, K-pop band BTS is joining up with Samsung to release their BTS version of the Samsung S20 Plus. It features their purple signature color and design and wallpapers inside of it. I think it's cool when companies like this join up with artists or other collaborators to create special editions of their phone. The company behind the weird camera module of the Nokia 9 that featured 5 12-megapixel sensors on the back of it, they've also created a point-and-shoot camera with 16 different smartphone sensors on it. Definitely an interesting way to approach photography, but they say they've gotten out of the mobile photography game. They won't be working with any more phone manufacturers. It'll be interesting to see where this move takes them in the future. They definitely have an interesting take on photography, and I wish them the best. And in the wearable space, Fitbit may be releasing their first watch that has Google Assistant. Fitbit was bought by Google a while back, and since then they still haven't released any watches with Google Assistant support on it. But now with the Versa 2, it might be their first smartwatch that does support the Google Assistant. This definitely seems like a strong collab between Fitbit creating great hardware and Google Assistant being such a great voice assistant and great software side of things. I think they can create a very powerful smartwatch. And Tesla's finally decided to trickle down the USB and wireless charging modules all the way down to their Tesla Model 3s. Previously, this was only for their higher ends, like the Model Y already had USB-C and wireless charging inside the cabin. And now all the way down to their Models 3s have these additional features in there. After their recent price drop on some of their Tesla models, these seems like ways to increase sales by keep adding little features to their cars. The SpaceX is kind of in some hot water with the FCC. FCC has said that they only have 1 month to prove that they can provide under 100 millisecond latency internet. And if they can't prove that they can provide low latency internet, that drops them down a tier in their funding from the FCC, so they won't get as much government funding moving forward. SpaceX is pretty confident that eventually they will be able to provide high-speed internet, but the uncertainty is if they will be able to actually reach this deadline on time. So we'll definitely be covering this over the next month as the story develops. But that about wraps it up for today's news. If anything I said was factual or incorrect, let me know in the comments down below. And while you're down there, if you would hit the like and subscribe button, it really helps this channel out and it means a lot to me personally. But anyway, I hope you guys have an amazing day out there. Make sure you stay safe, make sure you're washing your hands a lot, and I will see you again on the next episode. Go Toaster out.